I'm sorry if I don't sound like I'm completely awake. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. But I decided to change up things and make a video. I can't fucking talk today. I decided to make a video in my hat, and I'm wearing my sports bra today. So I decided to change it up a bit. So today I wanted to talk about motivation. And I'm making this a video because I figure that, I like to kind of like, I don't know, this is my way of, instead of writing something down and making a video, because it's just my way of like journaling things or writing stuff down or documenting things, I don't know. I just like to make videos every once in a while. It's just the way I like to do things. I figure sometimes it's better to talk about things verbally than to do it all in writing. And sometimes when I write stuff, I lose track of it. And on my YouTube channel, I keep track of pretty much everything. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna start my story off with this. I had there was something that changed in my life that happened recently that I realized that I need to buy a car because something happened recently that was a game changer, and I realized I needed to buy a car. I need to buy a car to practice and to learn how to drive, and I need to buy my own car because I want other people to be able to be involved with me learning how to drive, because I know somebody who is willing to teach me. And well, that friend just so happened to not have a car, and but they can teach me, and they've taught somebody else before. They're just in a financial situation where they can't afford a car right now. So I kind of like have to get the car. And another reason why I have to get the car is because it's better that I practice in my own car, because my parents depend on their car. And I think pretty much everyone in LA depends on their car, and I don't think anybody's really going to want to teach a student driver in their car. No. I really don't think a lot of people really are that open to that. I hardly ever sneeze in my videos. Sorry about that. Anyhow, so I wanted to talk about intrinsic motivation for a little bit, because I realized to save up for a car, I have to be intrinsically motivated, because I kind of need to save up for a car. I need to. If I want to learn how to drive, I need to save up for a car, because I need to use my own car for practicing, because I know that it's for the better that I don't use my parents' cars for practicing, and I'm not insured on one of the cars, and one of the cars still has a big loan yet, and it's newer, and they can't really afford to have me practicing with their cars, because there's a high risk that I might get, and there's a significant risk that I might get their cars in an accident, because I'm a student driver, so they can't afford that really. So things are much more things are more stable. There's more stability if I get my own car. There's a lot more stability in this situation. And it's a lot easier for me to control and manage, because I can just have whomever I want with me when I go out practicing for driving. Because if a driving permit, also known as a restrictive license, you always have to have somebody in the car with you, and I rather have the say over whoever I want in the car with me. With my parents' cars, it's gotta only be my parents. With the parents' cars, it's gotta be my parents and my parents only. So, I can, like, have more say in whoever. And I mean, the only way that somebody else could go with me in my parents' cars is, like, if my friend were to sit next to me, or my mom or my dad would sit in the back seat. That would be another option too, but I just get the general vibe from my dad, especially, that it's better that I don't use their cars. They would rather me not use their cars at all and rather me get my own car. So it's all for the better. And anyhow, the good thing about getting my own car is when I get my license, there won't be that torture of waiting to buy a car and saving up for it, because I'll already have done it. So when I get my license, it's like I'm gonna already have a car. So, I'll have a car already when I get my license, so it's not like I'm gonna, there won't be like that anticipation of waiting to have a vehicle or waiting to have a car after I get my license. I won't have to be like, oh, I'm licensed, but I don't have a car. No, I will actually have both. And that's, I think, a major plus, because a lot of people get licensed and they have to wait to get a car. In fact, that's what I was planning on doing myself, not the other way around, but I realized it's actually for the better that I do it the other way around. Now, why I want to talk about intrinsic motivation is because, and by the way, there's also mechanical problems with my dad's car too, like like a fan needs to be run to keep the car cooled down and stuff. There's also, like, my dad's car is not in top shape at all whatsoever. But anyhow, it was actually technically my mom's car, but then my mom gave it to my dad because he had a Celica, which is from the 70s, and it's really, 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 really run down, and, like, it probably won't, it doesn't even really run at all. I mean, if another angle to this, if I personally were to pour in some money to fix up the Celica, I could possibly learn how to drive in that car, because that car is like a total beater. But yeah, the Celica is just so run down. It might break down while I'm running it. I mean, my dad can't even go that far with it. I mean, my dad has to move it from block to block sometimes, but you can't even go that far with it. And I don't think it would be worth it to pour money into fixing that. But yeah, I realize there are two other options aside from getting my own car. I just now realized that. I literally just, as of this moment, realized that. Because I made a video about this last night, and I didn't realize this last night. So I may talk with my dad about this a little bit today, but my gut feeling is telling me it's not worth it to pour money into the old Celica, because it's probably not even gonna run that well for me when I want to use it for practicing driving. It's probably not even gonna run that well for me. Well, I have a friend that I know who's perfectly willing to take me out practicing. My dad also has to be okay with that going on. So that's another complication too, because that's still his car. He has to be okay with that going on, unless he just wants to give it to me. But I mean, another thing that's going on with that car is I know my dad's using it for, like, storage. He's like, yeah, it probably couldn't happen because he's using it for storage. He's like, he has extra stuff that he has nowhere else to put, and he's using that car for that. So I don't know. But it's something I could talk to him about. Maybe that would be I still need to save up for my own car, but maybe that would be like a temporary thing that could get me by until then, because I just hate the thought of having to like start new again and everything with, well, I'm not technically starting new again, but I just hate the thought of having to wait until I can save up for my own car and never go out driving practicing again up until then. I hate the thought of that, really, because I've made so much progress and it's summer. And but if there's a way that I can get by temporarily and be able to practice in a car until then, that will be like, the goal will be to save up for my own car. But if I can use my dad's old Celica until then to practice, and that would be really great. In fact, that would probably solve a lot of the problems I'm having. But I still need to get my own car because the Celica runs like shit. But maybe I could do parking lot practice with it, but I don't even know how in the hell we're gonna get it to the parking lot, because it's just a shit car. It just runs so bad. But anyhow, okay, so back to intrinsic motivation. So basically, I have to be entirely intrinsically motivated to save up for my own car. So the high points, the basically the stronger points of my motivation intrinsically would be, I want to learn how to drive. It's a big goal of mine to get a license, because I mean, I don't know one person that is unlicensed besides my friend who is like around 16 years old. She just literally like turned 16. She's like 16 or 17, but she literally just like got around the age where she could start driving. I mean, I know hardly anyone who doesn't have a license. So yeah, it kind of gets to you. It does. But anyhow, I have been told over and over again not to worry about it, that it's okay, that it's normal. But anyhow, yeah, it's a big goal of mine. So just wanting to learn how to drive alone and wanting that freedom, especially because I live at home and my mom drives me crazy sometimes and I need to get away. Well, she's overprotective, and sometimes I need to get away just on my own, like do stuff independently. I mean, my dad's cool, but it's just very hard to do stuff independently. It's very, very, very difficult. So, gosh, I don't even know if I've ever really done anything independently at all. I mean, I've gone to El Camino, but my parents take me, so I really have done nothing independent at all. I would say pretty much nothing. But anyhow, there's a fly in my face. Shit. I need to get some fly traps in here. Yeah, that's why I basically, when I go shopping, I go with my dad all the time. That's happening, because I haven't literally done anything independently ever, pretty much. Pretty much. I can't think of one thing that I've really done independently as far as going to a place or running an errand independently. The only stuff I've done independently is like buy stuff over the internet and maybe order stuff, maybe like do stuff over the phone related to like money, and you know, and pretty much, yeah, that's it. I've never like ran an errand independently ever, and I've never gone anywhere completely independently by myself before, ever. So anyhow, I mostly pinpoint it to the fact that I don't have a car or don't have a license. But yeah. And my mom's overprotective, so that's another thing. So anyhow, that's where the intrinsic motivation is strong. and I really want a car, and I want to be able to have my own life, and go out with my friends and have fun, not have mom know about it, because mom doesn't need to know about it because I'm going on 21 years old. So that's basically like where the high point of my intrinsic motivation is. Now, where my intrinsic motivation probably breaks down is I'm getting a beater car. I'm not really getting a nice car. So that's probably where my intrinsic motivation breaks down. So anyhow, the only thing that can mend that part of my intrinsic motivation, the only thing that can mend it is to tell myself, well, I may be getting a beater car, but you know, not that I actually really care about this, but I can, like, you know, have you ever seen that show Pimp My Ride? You know, I can pimp my ride. You know, I can do stuff later. I mean, no matter how much of a beater it looks, you can always do stuff to make it look better, to make it look nicer. I mean, this is the last thing people probably thought I would be talking about, but it's true. That's where my intrinsic motivation breaks down, because I'm saving up for a beater car. And I have to be disciplined and save up for a car, but it's a beater car. And when I look at it on the surface, I'm like, God damn, I have to wait all this time. I'm not even getting a nice ride. So it's like I really should look into, like, I just need to know there's stuff I can do later on to make it look better, or I can pimp my ride, so to speak. You know, there's always a way to make it look better. But I'm just saying, that's where my intrinsic motivation breaks down, because I'm sure if I were saving for, like, a nice well, I'm getting an older used car. I mean, like, I'm sure if I were saving for a, like, newer Toyota, I'm sure the intrinsic motivation would be much higher. But the thing is, yeah, you know, I'm getting a car that I can fully own. I don't want to be making monthly payments on it. You know, it's what I can afford. So I have to get what I can get. I have to get what I can get my hands on, because it's what I can afford. And no, it's not my dream car. So basically, that's where my intrinsic motivation breaks down. So I need to build upon that weak area in my intrinsic motivation, because I need to be entirely driven and intrinsically motivated to save up for a car. And I need it. It's something that I need to do. In fact, my intrinsic motivation to save up for a car might be higher if my dad's willing to lend me his Celica to do practice with my friend, or if he's willing to maybe, like, step it up. Oh my god, my mom's outside the door. She's probably listening to this whole damn thing. See, I try to tell my mom nothing, because my mom just basically, like, comes up to my dad and says, "Hey, what you doing? You know, you're being this and that," and oh my god, I just try to let my mom know as little as possible, because all it does is lead to a fight, and then it's like my fault. Anyhow, yeah, actually, my intrinsic motivation would probably increase if my dad could let me use his Celica for some practice stuff. Even if it's just small, my intrinsic motivation probably actually increase. But I really don't think that's going to happen, because he's using that car for other purposes, like storage, unless he can clear all that shit out. And I know money needs to be poured into it to fix it, and it's a pain in the ass. It might actually be so much of a pain in the ass that it actually may end up frustrating me when practicing with it. But anyhow, that might probably likely higher my intrinsic motivation. But anyhow, my intrinsic, I need to have like full like intrinsic motivation to save it for a car. Sorry if I'm rambling, but I basically need to have like strong intrinsic motivation. And if you don't know what intrinsic motivation is, it's motivation that comes from within, like it comes from yourself, like it comes from inside. It doesn't come from money. It doesn't come from money or anything external or anything like that. And intrinsic is internal motivation. It has to come from your heart. It has to come from your soul. It has to come from within your it has to come from within your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm intrinsically motivated to do music, so yeah, it's the same type of motivation. But I think if any of you I think if any of you know what motivation is, then you know what I'm talking about. I think you guys probably all know what I'm talking about, so you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, yeah, another area that I need motivation in is I personally hate doing chores around the house, even though I'm like 20 years old, but I still hate doing chores around the house, and I've always hated it. I never really got an allowance growing up or anything like that, so I never was kind of conditioned to like it. I believe that if you give a kid an allowance, you're kind of conditioning them to like doing it, to actually it's a pretty good motivation tactic. I never really was given an allowance or anything like that, so I never really was conditioned to like it or enjoy it. I was conditioned to think, oh, it's work. So, anyhow. But, I noticed my productivity really, increases when, I'm running, there is a lot of, websites that, like, live stream porn and stuff like that. And I notice my productivity really increases when I have, like, a live streaming adult channel, like, on my tablet, and I'm watching it on the side. I notice my productivity really, really increases when I do that. The problem is,
He's in the kitchen doing dishes.
okay.
Are you talking to yourself?
I'm doing a video. My mom just told me that my dad's home in the kitchen, that he's doing dishes that I was supposed to do.
With Maddie or Eric?
I'm doing a video, damn it.
Oh, okay.
My mom likes to knock on the door and interrupt me in the middle of my videos. Even though I may think it's rude, you may think it's hilarious, so I don't really care. Anyhow, yeah, I live at home with my parents, so that kind of shit happens. So, anyhow, yeah, you can make a cringe compilation of my mom knocking on the door. It'd be unfucking believable, the stuff you would hear. So, anyhow, I was supposed to do dishes today, and she just said that my dad's home, so I guess he's doing the dishes now that I was supposed to do this morning. And I didn't do them because I told my mom, oh, I'm digesting my food. And I didn't get a lot of sleep last night either because I was kind of like, tripping out over this driving stuff, so I really didn't get a lot of sleep. I was kind of like tripping out over it and being stressed and like I don't know. I just couldn't really get my mind to relax. I just couldn't like get myself to feel like I just couldn't relax, plain simple. I just couldn't relax last night. So that's why I'm tired because I just couldn't relax last night. So I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. I couldn't relax. I mean, by the time I did fall asleep, the sun was already out. It was like 6 a.m. already. And I got up at around 11. Okay, okay, back to stuff like doing the dishes. I know my productivity increases when I'm running porn, but the problem is I can't run porn in the kitchen when I do dishes. I have to do something else. So I was thinking of even though it may be kind of boring or really boring, I was thinking of maybe running a YouTube live stream of like an aquarium or a fish tank or a coral reef or something, or some kind of animal live stream on YouTube. I figured that'll keep me entertained enough, or just enough, to keep me doing dishes. I've always liked fish, and I've always liked fish in aquariums, and I had fish when I was a little kid, and I've always liked that. So that may be just enough to keep me going while I'm doing something like the dishes in the kitchen, because I can't run porn. Now, running a TV show works too sometimes, but the thing is, like, I have my favorite TV shows that I really like, but the thing is, I've seen all the episodes of my favorite TV shows already, and it's just like watching the same episodes over and over again. A lot of the TV shows that are like my favorite TV shows that I actually really really like. Um, a lot of I have a lot of like favorite cartoons that I really like. Um, Hardly any of them are like real shows that are not cartoons or whatever. Hardly any of them are like shows with people. I do like some shows with people, but hardly any of them are like shows with people. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll give you a couple examples. I like most of the adult cartoons that are out there, like Beavis and Butthead. I like Ren and Stimpy and so on and so forth. I also like Rick and Morty as well. Most of the shows that I like are like kind of retro or whatever, or I don't know. They've just ended a long time ago. They've just stopped producing seasons for them a long time ago. Whatever shows I like, and there's really not a lot of new. There's really not like new episodes. I mean, I know Rick and Morty are working on a new season supposedly, but anyhow, I don't have cable, so I rely on like live streaming websites or YouTube, and you can't always find everything there. And like, I know I've watched certain episodes of Rick and Morty like a million times, so that I don't think that's as good of a way to keep me productive anymore. Um, yeah, that's not as good as it could be. That's not. Porn works a lot better. But anyhow, maybe looking at a live stream of a fish tank might be just enough to keep me going, just to keep me focused. I need that external stimuli to keep me going, to keep me focused. That's why running porn keeps me so productive, is because I need external stimuli sometimes. I need it. Sometimes I just need it. At school, well, what do I do for that? At school, that's a different story. I can stay focused a lot easier because I'm in a classroom environment where I can be focused. So it's also environmental factors too. But that's why listening to music helps keep me productive when I'm at school too. When I'm at school, I can listen to music. That's no problem. So that also keeps me focused as well. But yeah, when I'm at home, I need more external stimuli because at home there's like plenty of distractions and there's always a tendency to loaf off and do nothing. And that's most of the time that's what I do. I'm actually a pretty lazy individual. I most of the time loaf off and do nothing. Um, yeah, I mean, some people are worse than me as far as being lazy. Like, I ain't the laziest person on the planet, okay? I'll admit it, I'm lazy, but I'm not the laziest fucking person on the planet. There are people who are lazier than me, a lot lazier. But anyhow, I'm always just trying to be, think through things critically and always like try to, if I have a bad habit, try to recognize it and try to reduce it. But I know that running porn 100% usually works with along with music if possible. So I'm thinking maybe when I'm doing chores outside of my room, running a live stream of like a of some kind of nature thing like a coral reef or a fish tank or animals, whatever it is. Running a live stream's better. Running a YouTube live stream is a lot better because if you bring up the same old video over and over and over again, you are going to get really bored. Because I'm finding that even now with like exercising, like I have three VR headsets. Two of them are duplicates. But anyhow, I recently ordered a newer VR headset because I wanted something more comfortable on my face. And the newer one's a lot more comfortable, and the VR on it's a lot better too. Um, there's one thing I don't like about it though, but it's not, it's like a very minor problem that I'm having with it. It's very, very minor. But anyhow, I find that I'm running the same old videos over and over again to exercise. I'm running the same old VR videos to exercise over and over again, and it gets to be boring. It gets to be really boring because you're not refreshing it. It gets to be really, really boring. That's why live streams are actually better in my mind. And that's why I love the live streaming adult channels on the internet because and another thing I like about it is like you know how when you're watching a video it's like 20 minutes and then it ends and then you have to click on another video. Well, you do like any kind of live streaming video or live streaming channel, whatever it is, you never have to do that. You can just keep it on and leave it alone unless something you really don't like comes on, like usually if the lesbian porn comes on, I usually switch it. I don't get anything from lesbian porn. I don't know what it is. I just don't really find any, like it doesn't get me excited. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. So I usually I switch it, you know. I usually switch it because I'm I'm straight and I want to see cock, so I know straight girls watch lesbian porn too, but anyhow, yeah. I'm just not like lesbian porn's just not my thing. Just put it simple, straightforward. I mean, I know guys really love it, yeah, because it's two girls, girl and girl. You're not having to see any guy in his penis at all, so it's better for those. It's better for guys that way. But anyhow, yeah. So I mean, if I see a porn that I really don't care for, I do switch the channel. But it's like a lot less than what you would have to do when you're watching a 20-minute video and then 20 minutes go by and then you get distracted looking for the next video. It's a lot better. That's my point. Yeah, no offense, lesbian porn is cool and all, you know, and it's cool to be a lesbian too if you are one, you know. That's totally cool, you know. Totally fine with it, okay? But it's just that lesbian porn's not that my thing. It's not my thing. Personally, it's just not my thing. You know, I like to see cock, okay? We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done with that. We're done. We're done. anyhow, I was also thinking that, I mean, I need to apply this to more than just doing chores. Doing chores is something I really never like doing, and I don't think I ever will like it. So, this is something I need to apply to more things as well. Like, um, with my as far as music goes in my guitar right now, I'm trying to move on into playing leads because I want to be able to solo over my songs that I've done. I want to be able to do like maybe 1 minute 30 second. I just want to be able to solo. So I have to learn scales. I have to memorize them. I know that's what you have to do the solo pretty much. I know you have to learn these scales and memorize them, and I think you have to know your root notes too. I'm not sure if people can solo without knowing their root notes or not, but I know that a key component of it is learning scales and memorizing them. So um I know that I can find that to be really mundane too. I'm gonna make sure that I mean, even if I were to play with a metronome or a backing track, I'm sure I could find it really mundane after a while because I need to basically um, do repetition with these scales and do it over and over again because I am serious about it. I really do need a solo. I'm serious because with my music, I don't have anyone else who's like I'm like I'm like a well, they say one man band, but I'm a one woman band. I'm basically that's why I'm completely solo. I mean completely, and except for the drum loops that I pick out because somebody else is always doing the loops. You just download it. Somebody else is always doing the drums. You just download it. I'm doing everything except for the drum beats, which somebody else puts out there and publishes, and then I download it. But yeah, so I'm basically doing everything. So that's something that I need to do. And it's something that I would like to do anyways. So there is an extrinsic motivation for that because I'm kind of tired of watching other people be able to do it, and I've been playing guitar for years and I'm not. So I know I see other people can do it and I want to be able to do it too. So there is intrinsic motivation for that. But anyhow, I was thinking another thing I can do. Um, I know for motivation, it's also good to like give yourself incentives. So there are small little rewards I can give myself. I've been as for driving, any kind of driving practice or driving lessons that I've done so far, I've been doing it with like food. Like I'll get myself a protein bar. I've been trying to keep it healthy, like protein bars and stuff like that. I've went a little unhealthy every once in a while, but I've been trying to keep it I've been trying to keep it somewhat healthy, but anyhow, that the food thing was gonna wear off. So, and I can't be doing that every day. So, yeah, there's other things that I can get to motivate myself. Like, I know there's these trading cards that they sell at the dollar store that I really like. They're called Garbage Pail Kids trading cards. I really like I really like it. I really like that kind of stuff. My dad introduced it to me because he collected those when he was younger and he told me about it, and then I immediately liked it as well. So there's trading cards. There's a lot of, like cheap things that I can get myself to keep myself going. I know that I have to make sure that it doesn't get out of control though. That it stays pretty structured. I don't want it to get out of control because it can get out of control because I would be spending so much money on um, giving myself little incentives for this or that. I'd be spending so much money for that and it would get out of control. Another thing that I really need to do, and I do consider this like work, like it's sort of like a chore somewhat, is listing stuff on eBay because sometimes it can be so much work, especially now because I'm working with clothes. Yes, I have worked on it somewhat. It's not like I've been sitting on it completely. I've taken pictures and I photoshopped them, but I need to measure out like it's like what like 30 clothing items, like 30 different 30 different clothing items that I need to like measure out. And it's so much work to measure stuff out. So anyhow, to do household chores or eBay or any kind of thing that I consider to be kind of like work or mundane grind stuff, I need to like also give myself incentives, and I need to keep finding creative ways to do it. I was thinking that I like coloring when I'm at school, and I was thinking that could be a way to do it, but it's not, because it takes time to color something. And when I'm at school, I'm kind of like doing it as a pastime. Coloring is like more of a pastime, so it's not going to work, because coloring is a all it is a pastime, and I think it's not, doing guitar is like a pastime too, but it's a pastime. I don't. It's just something that I feel isn't gonna be like a excellent motivator. Like, it is not gonna be an excellent motivator to really, really, really work. Unfortunately, the other incentives I've thought of cost money. Unfortunately, they cost money. Unfortunately. And this summer, I'm trying to live on a really strict budget and trying not to spend and trying to pinch my pennies. So it kind of conflicts with what I want to do with being on a strict budget and trying to pinch pennies. It kind of conflicts with what I want to do. It like directly conflicts with that. So I think as long as I keep it under control, I'm okay. I think I can keep it under control. I mean, as long as I keep it under control, it's okay. From a money aspect, if I can keep it under control. But ideally, I want to come up with something where I don't really have to spend money at all. That would be the best thing. Just come up with something that I can use as an incentive where I don't spend money at all. Now, coloring would be one of those things, but I said it's like more of a pastime, and sometimes if I want to print stuff from the printer to color, that costs money too. So, anything that's like a pastime, even playing video games. I'm not really a big video game person, and again, that's like another pastime thing. Like if I'm cooking and I have to, when I cook, I have to be in there in the kitchen and watch my food cook, and I have to be in there in the kitchen the whole time while my food's cooking. Yeah, I may pick up my phone and play like a video game app, but it's not going to motivate me because that's like a pastime. So I realized that anything that is like sort of a pastime isn't going to motivate me. Now, what may motivate me is I know my dad is really I know my dad has been into like getting remote control cars. Yeah, if I get myself a toy like that, that may work, but going to places can also be an excellent thing too. Like, I haven't gone to Amoeba Music up in Hollywood in a really long time. That may also work too, just like going to places. And I know there's a guitar store right by my house that I haven't been to in a really long time. There's some places that are close by that I haven't been to in a long time, and I haven't been. I mean, I live by the beach, and I haven't done anything by the beach in a really long time. And Trader Joe's is one of my favorite stores to go to, and I've been going to the same Trader Joe's over and over and over again. So that, I think that is really a more economical way to give myself incentives and to um, motivate myself. I think that's more economical and low cost. I mean, nothing is free because, you have to pay gas. Nothing is free, but it may be more effective. It may be a more effective way to motivate myself than getting some cabbage patch not Cabbage Patch, I'm sorry. They gave some Garbage Pail Kids trade cards. It may be a better way to do it, and it may be more low cost and economical too. I mean, you get anywhere that's like further away, it's gonna cost gas money. But I also depend on my dad to chauffeur me around because I don't have a license and I don't have a car. So he has to like concur with anything I do and be okay with it. And another motivation thing is like going out to eat at a certain place, but then again that's another one that involves money. I'm trying to think of as many ones as possible that don't involve money, and it can't be something that's a pastime because that's not gonna work. So anyhow, um that's my rant about motivation.